video, we're going to look at the properties of mathematics. The first property we're going to look at is identity. And I remember identity as the mirror property. If I look at myself in the mirror, I still see myself. So let's look at the number 3. What can I add to 3 to still keep 3? If you said 0, you're correct. 0 is the identity property for addition. Identity property of addition, the magic number is 0. Let's look at this one. 3 times what will give me 3? If you said 1, you're correct, because 1 is the identity property of multiplication. And another way that I remember this, remember when you were taught equivalent fractions, so 1/2, and if the new one's going to have 4 on the bottom, I multiply by 2 on the top and the bottom. And that's because 2 over 2 is just 1. When you multiply by the number 1, you're not really changing it. It's still that same amount. The next property we're going to look at is distributive. And I think of this as your teacher handing out papers to you. So the teacher is going to hand out 3 papers to student number 4 and 3 papers to student number 5. So this is 3 times 4 plus 3 times 5. And sometimes you'll notice that they don't use the multiplication symbol. They'll do 3 parentheses 4. It means the same thing. It means to multiply. So I think of distributive as my teacher distributing papers to each of the students. Distributive property has to do with multiplication. I'm going to multiply because this student is going to get 3 papers. Okay, moving on, we have commutative property. And I think of this as my commute to work. On my commute to work, I take 95 and then I get on 29. When I go home, I'm going to do the reverse. My reverse commute is I'm going to get on 29 and then I'm going to get on 95. So my commute, I start on 95, go to 29, and to go home, the GPS tells me to do 29 to 95. The last property is associative. And I think of associative as who I associate with. So this is me, and at home in my neighborhood, this is who I hang out with, because maybe she doesn't attend my school. So together we hang out when we're at home in the neighborhood. Now when I'm at school, however, because she doesn't go to my school, I'm going to hang out with my other friends. So that's who I'm grouping with. It's all about the grouping symbols. So here I'm hanging out with 4. I'm 4 and I'm hanging out with 3. But when I go to school, 3's not there, so I'm hanging out with 8. And the same applies, this is the associative property for addition, and the same applies for the associative property of multiplication. Here I'm hanging out with the number 3. But here, I'm going to hang out with the number 8. I hope this helped and this gave you little ways to remember the different properties. Good luck practicing and identifying the properties.